Hey, you who are without mistakes, cast the first stone. That's all I got to say. Hey everyone, I'm Dave with Tailored Creations. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to do something fairly simple. I'm going to make a book holder. I don't even know what to call it. I've seen it a bunch of different things, but it's basically this. I'm going to call it the bookmarker stand. The bookmark stand. I don't know what to call it. There's probably a name for it, but everyone does it a little different. They have their own little spin on it. I'm going to make a very simple one today, and I'm going to use maple to do it. I am going to engrave on it. We're going to personalize it a little bit. Actually, not personalize it, because this is not for anyone in particular. No one picked anything. I picked a couple of things to put on each side. So I'm using some old maple that I had left over from when I did the kitchen, and it's rough cut. So I'm going to plane this down to about 3/4 of an inch before I do any cutting on it. This piece of wood should be enough to make the whole thing. So I've already squared off one end here. So I'll just make a mark at 8 inches. A lot of people make these 7. I like it just a little bit more in case the book you want to put on here is a little bit longer. And just to make sure those are the same. For some reason that does not look square. Dad nabbit. Well, I'm going a little bit less than 8. I thought I cut that end off. Maybe I didn't. All right, well. Like I said, most people make them 7 inches anyway, so we're going to be a little closer to 7 inches. Let's see how bad we did. Okay, I'm 7 3/4, so that'll work. I'm still over the 7. All right, something's wrong here. I am on 0. I was not on 0. Should always double check your miter saw before you start cutting, because I was not on 0. I am now. So I may be 7.5 now. My goodness, I should have just stuck with 7 inches, I guess. Hey, you who are without mistakes, cast the first stone. That's all I got to say. I think God wanted me to make this at 7 inches. Okay. I'm going to be less than 7 inches. That's my problem. No, 7.5. All right, so I lost another 1/4 inch. Let's rewind back to the beginning, and I'm going to make this 7.5 inches for the book to go on. So now for my other piece, I didn't make this too long on purpose, just so I would have enough. So for my other piece, I want an extra 5 inches here, because I'm going to make a cup holder. 5 inches might be too much. I'm going to go 4 inches. I don't know. What do you think? Should I go 5 or 4? Let's go 5, because I can always make it shorter. Can't hardly make it longer though. Let's see what that looks like. I might go in between. All right, now I'm going to get these cut down to width on the table saw, or at least these two first. I'm not going to do this one until I get these two, so I know how wide I need to make that one. I'm going to cut as little off as I need to, because I want this as tall as I can get it. I like to have it at least, 5-ish inches. Well, good, that's almost 5 5/8. So that'll give me a little bit. I can take off this edge here to straighten that up too. So that's good. So I was able to keep 5.5 inches, which is good. A lot of people do these at 5. I wanted them a little taller. I probably had a wider piece of maple up there, so I could have made them 6, which is really more like what I wanted, but I think this will work just fine. I think the last one I made was only 5 inches, so we should be good. So I have this little jig that I made. It's really easy to make, pretty quick to make, just something that sets over my fence, and it's taller than my fence because I'm going to cut one side of these this way at an angle, and I'm going to set my table saw to 22.5 ish, about right there. Sorry for the camera work, but I'm about at 22.5. I'm just going to set my fence so that I'm cutting right at the bottom of the fence, basically. So the fence is kind of touching the blade, but that's it. So I'm going to go right there, and then you got to raise it high enough to come through. Right there's good. And you want to clamp this on there. Probably need to cut some slots in this so that clamp can go a little bit lower. But I think that'll work. That looks good. And you come out with something like that. All right, so we got these two pieces, and that's how they'll go, just like this. I now need to cut so that I have this angle here. So I'll be cutting this side off. So I need to run it like this. It'll be with the bevel up, going up against the fence. And again, I'm going to make this as long as I can, which means the top needs to be right at the edge of the blade, and I think that's it right there. And that gives me a little over 5 inches from the top long point to the bottom long point. I don't mind telling you, I don't brag very often, but I line that blade up perfect. So now we'll get that setting just like that. 2 flat bottoms, looks like a little tent. I need to get an idea how wide this base needs to be to hold this tent piece for the book holder. And I don't want to glue this yet because I want to engrave these, and it's much easier if I engrave them flat. So, you know what? I'm going to get a nice straight edge on this rough edge here because I got this straight edge, but I still want to trim that one. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this edge off real quick. Okay, so I cut the rough edge off of here. We'll just set this up here. Make sure it's together the way it will be when it's finished. Line that up. So that needs to be right there. If I cut it there, it'll still be just a hair proud. Now some people will leave this wide and they'll put a little groove for a pencil. I'm not going to do that. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm not doing that. So I have quite a bit there for a cup. Because I'm also going to engrave on this piece here. That's why I want to make sure and get that established. So I'm going to rip this off to rip off. And what I should do, actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut a little bit off of that. Then that way, from the end of my tent to the end of the board will be the same as from here to here. Got to make it proportionate. I want to mark some centers to help me line up my engraving. And since we're at 105, it's going to be 52.5. Okay, then I'm going to go to the computer, get the graphics on, get these on the laser. Okay, so I messed up. I think it was on the software, and it's probably because of my focus adjustment. Couldn't go deep enough. So these are going to be a little bit thinner. I went pretty deep with that engrave anyway. But you can see how this is down at the bottom. See where my circle started to engrave, and there's the center. It should have been up here. So thank God for planers. So I'm going to plane these down. I'm not going to have 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to have closer to a 1/2 inch now. But I'm going to plane them down, and then I'll be able to re-engrave these, and it will make the sizes a little bit different, especially on the base. But that's okay. It'll still be fine. Once or twice through the planer, took it all the way off, remarked my pieces. I'm lightened up the engrave just a little bit so it wouldn't be quite so deep. After I get everything lined back up again, because when I reset the distance, it changed everything. I'm glad I just saw that, because I was getting ready to hit start. So we should be good to go now. Should be. Okay. Start. Process. Okay, so it finished engraving, as you can see. We're going to get it out of here, see what it looks like. Before I move this one though, I forgot to attribute the author on that, so I'm glad I didn't touch that one. So I'm going to do that real quick and get that engraved on there. Now, since I didn't touch this one, let me refresh that because I moved everything. Let's make sure everything's still good. I think their camera works better than it used to, maybe. I can't really tell. So I'm going to pick all of these and make sure they're not on output. So I'm going to add a text. Doctor, no, let's do this. Dash, Doctor, SEUSS. I'm going to engrave, and I did Bradley hand. I wish it would stay on the last one you picked, you know. So this one I did bold at 36. Let's make sure this one's bold at, let's go 36. So we're the same. One thing they do in Lightburn, so if I would have typed this in Lightburn right here and then got out of it, when I come back, it would have brought me to the same size and font of the last one that I did. So kind of like that. I'm going to get a close-up shot right here just to make sure I get things lined up correctly. I am not an XCS expert. I'm learning it still. They do improve it a lot. There's still some features in Lightburn I like better. But with the camera and everything, XCS on this laser, yeah, it's the way to go. I'm going to move it over. I'm going to go probably about right there. It's pretty close to even there. So we will go, I think I did that on cherry, but then I changed this to, let me see what I changed it to. 45 is what I changed it to. Okay. I'll change this to 45. And I'm going to save that as hard maple. Okay, so that should be the only thing I'm getting ready to engrave. Process. Yep, that's the only thing showing up. 37 seconds. I'll be right back. So here's what they look like coming right off the laser. Pretty bad. Not bad, I mean, but a lot of char. I did not finish these first. You can finish these first and then you won't get as much bleed, but I haven't sanded these yet either. So I got to sand them nice and smooth and then put some finish on them after that. This is the way I did the last one, so it's the way I'm doing this one because I don't like to change. So I got some 180 on my sander, and that's as high as I'm going with the sanding. So I always get I'm going to do the inside, even though you won't be able to see that, but that's the main part I want to get finished, is the insides and this before I put it together. Okay, the engravings turned out really nice, and they'll be even better when I get finish on them. Now, I don't put any stain on these. You could if you wanted. I like the natural. I really love natural cherry. I haven't done one in the maple yet. This is my first one. Now, what I typically do with the finish is I do the backs of these because they're the inside, and then I tape off where these go. So I'll tape off from here to here, and then I'll finish this whole piece and tape off here as well. The reason I tape it off is because the glue doesn't hold to the finish. That's the only thing I put finish on right now. After I get it put together, then I'll finish everything that you can see. I am using a fast drying water-based polyurethane satin. This is Bear from Home Depot. It's been pretty good. I've used it a few times. I don't remember the project I bought it for. Don't get any finish on the surfaces that you will be gluing. And I know there's an easier way to do this. Probably putting it together and using a spray so you can get up under there is easier. But folks, it's 15 degrees here where I'm at, and I can't spray in my garage. I have to go outside to spray, and I'm just not going to do it. And this worked perfect last time. Might be an extra step or two, but it works just fine. So just get a coat of finish on the surfaces that you can't get to, except this one I'm going all the way across just so it'll be even. I don't want a line showing where I cut off. I'm not going to do the edges yet. So once this dries, I am going to come back, do a real light sanding with 220, and put one more coat on this part, and then I'll show you how I glue it together and get everything ready. All right, so I got 2 coats on this part and the back inside of those. I'm going to take this tape off. Now here's how I do this. I saw another guy do it this way, a couple of people actually, and one guy decided to make a jig for it. I think it was softpaw or southpaw, but I actually like the way he did it. It actually worked pretty good, I think. And that is just using some wood glue and some CA glue. Like I'll put a little bit of glue here, a little bit here, a little bit here. Kind of move that around a little bit. This isn't exactly how he did it, but it's very similar. I just want that top to be together real good with wood glue. So there we got wood glue in a bunch of places. I want to be careful down here. I don't really want it oozing out inside there because it's going to be hard to get to. And then just take the CA glue and get it open. And this is to help hold it together quickly while the wood glue dries. I mean, the CA glue is pretty powerful, so it's going to do something for it anyway. Get a little bit of accelerator, put on there, spray this part, and then snap it together here. I try to be pretty close because that CA glue is going to dry pretty quick, especially when it hits that accelerator. Just get it right on there and hold it for just a few seconds. And you can see it's already held together. So when I put this on the base, I'm going to center it because I centered this piece. If I'd have thought before I engraved this, I would have ripped this down to the right size before I ever engraved it. But since I centered that, I'm going to center this, and I'm just going to have to clean up both sides of this piece on the table saw, which is perfectly fine. It's not going to be that difficult. It's only because of the engraving that I messed up on that I have to do that. So let's get this glued on there. I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to put a little dab here, wood glue, a little dab here, a little dab here, a little dab here, same as over here. I just want to leave a couple of empty spots for the CA glue. Alright, and then take our CA, Star Bond, whatever you want to call it, put a little daub there, a little daub there, a little daub there, a little there, 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 and there. Make sure you're paying attention when you put this on if you want any certain way of it facing. I don't care which way it faces. I'm going to spray a little accelerator just to help it set quicker. Don't have to. Act on this one, there's really no need to, because gravity will hold it down. I'll try to make it as straight as I can. Right there. That looks good. Hold it there just a little bit. Now the last one I made, to my knowledge, it's held up really well. I don't even know if my granddaughter uses it, but it's there. Okay. Do have a little bit of squeeze out on the inside, which I was hoping to avoid, but I didn't. I am going to sand that down because you don't want that quite that pointed. If it's too pointed, it has a tendency to split and splinter. I'm just going to sand that down. You can also use a little plane on it. And this is why I didn't finish it first, because I knew I'd have to sand on it. I'm taking a little baby block and see if I can kind of swing that corner out a little bit. That'll work, and then sand it down. I think that'll look good. It'll be better than running it through the table saw. Do the same thing over here. I'm just kind of using this piece as my guide on the angle to do that. Okay, not bad. Not anymore. I wonder if I should run across here a couple times. I'm going to flatten that out a little bit. Like that. It looks like it's supposed to be that way. So I'm going to put these little felt feet on, just one on each corner. Just to help protect furniture that it's on. And I think that's enough. I don't think I need them in the middle. I mean, it's not like that's going to sag or anything. And if I put them in the middle and something's a little crooked, that engraving looks pretty good. So we'll get the rest of it coated, at least a coat, and then I will lightly sand it like I did the other, and put another coat, lightly sand it, and maybe one more coat. Then we'll be done. This stuff dries really fast. I think Sonny wants to help a little bit. I don't know if licking it will do any good or not. Will it? Yeah, licking me won't do any good either. Thanks for the help. I appreciate it. You can go play now. All right? Want to go play? Go on. Go on. You want to play? All right, go play. What are you going to do? All right, so we're going to call this one done. Here it is. Turned out really nice. Got the Dr. Seuss quote over here. Top turned out good. The cup area. Got the go away I'm reading. I like that. I did purchase that file. Basically, the way it works is you got a place for your book. I couldn't find books in our house. We don't read much. But the book goes on there, saving your place till the next day. You read a few more and put your book down there again. You're good to go. Got a spot for your glasses to go in here if you want, and a place for your cup. And that's how it is. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments below. And I really appreciate you watching this, and I pray that God bless you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.